Hi, it's Scott, ROCKFILE, back with another podcast review, talking about the new 40th anniversary 4K edition of 1985's Silverado. I am not the biggest fan of Westerns. My dad raised me on everybody from John Wayne on up. I watched a lot of great Westerns, and early in my Blu-Ray collecting, I got things like The Searchers because the reviews were so amazing, and it was actually worthy. I've watched a lot of Westerns now, and I do enjoy the art form, but I don't pull it out very often, to be perfectly honest with you. Got a handful of them, but it rarely comes up unless somebody wants to see it. Well, recently, Sony Pictures released this 40th anniversary edition of Silverado, restored from the original film elements, 4K, HDR, Dolby Atmos, the whole 9 yards. And I went, you know what? I really enjoy that movie. I'm going to pick that up. So I finally got around to watching it over the weekend. And I got to say, if you're a fan of the film, you need to buy this edition. I have the original Blu-ray that came in one of those digibooks. It was a book. Warner Brothers and a few other companies released several movies in a booklet that had a Blu-ray in it, but it also had, it was a hardback book, kind of, and it fit bigger on the shelf than the regular cases. And I still have that, but I haven't watched it very many times. It's one of my favorite movies. It's got some decent extras on it. It looked fine on the Blu-ray. So when I heard this was coming out, I thought about it for a while and went, you know what? I really do want to see what this looks like, because it was filmed on 35 millimeter film in New Mexico, that kind of stuff. It, won Academy Awards, or at least was nominated for Best Sound, Best Original Score. Lawrence Kasdan, who wrote and directed this with his brother, was coming off The Big Chill, which did very well for him. He had also written a little movie called Raiders of the Lost Ark, so the guy was doing quite well in Hollywood at the time. He would go on to do broadcast news and some other great movies. And the cast he got for this: Kevin Kline, Scott Glenn, Rosanna Arquette, John Cleese, a young Kevin Costner to make up for the whole he got cut out of The Big Chill thing. Also Brian Dennehy, Danny Glover, Jeff Goldblum, Linda Hunt. Bruce Broughton did the music, and it had a $23 million budget, went on to make $32 million. Watching the 4K now, there's a few grainy scenes because it was filmed on 35 millimeter film back in the day, but there are some spectacular sunsets, sunrises, vistas, everything you want. For me, looking over all the years of great Westerns, this is one you would show to somebody who doesn't like Westerns. It's an ensemble cast. They're all getting along. Some people are good guys. Some people are bad guys. 4 of the guys become friends in the first half hour of the movie. And then we follow their journey through, dealing with the minefield of what goes on in the Wild West back in the day. Rosanna Arquette doesn't have any lines at first. She's just kind of there. They kind of switch in the middle who her love interest is, which still throws me how they did it. But it seems Kevin Kline becomes more interested in Linda Hunt, and all of a sudden Scott Glenn is interested. Anyway, we'll get into the spoilers of the movie for those that haven't seen it. Wasn't a big hit at the time, and I remember not a lot of people, but I walked out of the theater going, that was a great Western. It has gunfights. It has, horse chases, bad guys, plot twists, gambling, knives, brothels, pretty much everything you wanted in a Western. Is it as gritty as some of the Westerns that have come before and since? No. Is it very much a classic Western? No. This was kind of an 80s version of what a Western would be like. But when you've got young Jeff Goldblum and young Scott Glenn and young Kevin Costner just acting their nuts off and having a blast, turns out Scott Glenn and Kevin Costner really hit it off, and they were playing brothers in the movie, and that comes across. I think the whole movie, you can't really wipe the smile off your face, because everybody, even when the bad things happen, like somebody gets beat up or whatever, you still know that the bad guys are going to get their comeuppance. It just flows really well. It's a lot of fun. It's 2 hours spent in a Wild West movie that's not going to depress you like The Unforgiven or something like that, which is arguably a better Western. There are a lot of better Westerns, but this is kind of, I don't want to say in the Young Guns vein of kind of pop culture Westerns, but it kind of is in a certain way. But it does have some grittiness to it. It does have, practicing shooting before a gunfight and that kind of stuff. The bad guys are really bad guys. The good guys are kind of in the gray area there. It's a really good Lawrence Kasdan script. There were people that complained at the time that it was kind of generic. Like, well, doesn't a Western have to have like a horse stealing scene and a gunfight or two and that kind of thing in the middle of the street? And that, anyway, I thought everybody, there's even some other actors in smaller roles. You see them, like Richard Jenkins, tiny little role, but it's important to the gist of the film. Rewatching it this weekend was like watching it for the first time again. It's just a lot of fun from beginning to end, because when anybody's about to get hanged, but you know they're going to get sprung, or they're about to get into a gunfight, but you know they're going to triumph, there's just a feeling of fun and excitement in this film that you don't get in a lot of other Westerns. I think it's a blast. I think the music, Bruce Broughton's score, just really just does a wonderful job of taking you back to that time. But it's you know, we deal with all sorts of subplots in this movie, and some people complain there are too many, but that's part of it. I think he was trying to give us one movie and the whole Western experience rolled up into that 2-hour film. And as far as I'm concerned, not being the biggest fan of Westerns, I think it's a great Western. It's a lot of fun to watch. You can watch it with grandma. You can watch it with the kids. Everybody will get a blast out of it. It is a little R-rated. There's a couple of language things and a bit of violence and sexual innuendo, if you will. But all in all, this would almost be a PG-13 by today's standards, except for a couple of F-bombs that happen here and there. I really enjoyed the movie. I think it looks great. It's been remastered from the original film elements. There's some grainy scenes, but there are a lot of like really great close-ups, craggy faces, and details on clothing and horses' manes and things like that. It does look like a 4K image. It was actually quite bright. I think I was up to 1500 nits in the HDR10 information that it showed on my Panasonic. Watched it in Dolby Vision with Dolby Atmos. I thought the soundtrack was great. Does sound a little dated, but it is very enveloping, very immersive. Only a couple of extras on here, and they are on the Blu-ray. I don't know if the Blu-ray is the old Blu-ray or not. It kind of looks like it because it's still got BD Live stuff. But you're buying this for the 4K, and a really good-looking steelbook. It has the original poster on the front, got a nice scene on the back, and it's kind of shiny, goldish, kind of old gold, that antique kind of look. It really is a nice-looking steelbook. I would have loved a slipcover on it. And the 4K is spectacular. Looks and sounds the best the movie ever has, and probably ever will. So if you're a fan, I give it the highest recommendations. Pick up Silverado on 4K today. I'm Scott and ROCKFILE, more podcasts on the way. Thank you for listening. Please like, share, and subscribe, and have a spectacular day.